how do I have a lot of ideas.
Okay.
I have a lot of bright ideas regarding improving myself, doing meditation. I have a long reading list. I want to start a podcast, all of things. But I get distracted very frequently. I know it's a very earthly thing, but it is how to keep focus on one
When-
goal.
When there's an idea, there are a few different levels of ideas, right? First level is, oh, that's a good idea. That's an idea,
Yeah.
right?
Mm.
How inspired I am.
Mm.
I also wanted to open a podcast, but I'm not very inspired, right? Idea is good, but inspiration is not there.
Okay.
So, you're like, okay, maybe later on,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
When I get the inspiration. So that's one perspective of it as well, right? Now another thought would be your, what do we say, ultimate goal.
Ah.
That's an idea as well.
Hmm.
You have one goal. Instead of thinking of ideas, you have one goal. Means like, let's say, okay, I want to make $100,000.
Mm.
That's a goal.
Mm.
Now, what can I do in order to make
Reach
this?
there.
Now the ideas come out.
Mm.
And how much am I in need of this $100,000, right? If I'm bankrupt and I'm in I'm in debt and I have to support my family and that and this, then what happens? My inspiration is stronger, right?
Yes.
There's something pushing you.
Yes.
I have to do it.
Yeah.
I don't have any other options,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Now $100,000, but it's not like I need it. It's just like, oh, it would be good if I have it.
Yeah.
Now that's a totally different inspiration again,
Yeah.
right? Then you are like, you can be comfortable with your decisions.
Want
you
and
can be
need, yes.
you can be comfortable with your decisions. You can be comfortable with your plans. If not today, you can do it tomorrow. If not tomorrow, you can do it day after tomorrow. So the urgentness is not there.
Mm.
You see, it's all changing.
Mm.
It's the same thing, but based on perspective, based on situation, based on all of this, changing.
Yeah.
If you want to fully go on with an idea, first thing you really need is inspiration.
Yes.
Why you want to do it? For what reason? And that inspiration is not just someone telling you, yes, you need to be inspired to do it, but you actually need a very strong logical reason that you can tell yourself, and you yourself sitting there listening to this inspiration are going, yes, I need it. And not just need it, but I need it right now.
Yeah.
That kind of motivation,
Oh, okay,
right?
Okay.
You see that? Changes the whole perspective of things.
Yeah.
Like if I give you an example, you're a cancer doctor, so if I have cancer and I say I want to do podcast now, it's a whole different thing for me now.
Yeah.
Now I don't have cancer. I want to do podcast, but I have time.
Yeah, got it.
I can relax.
Yeah.
No problem.
Kick the can down the road.
Maybe in 2 years, maybe in 3 years.
Yeah.
Right? Initially I will make it work. I convince myself initially I will make it work, but not right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I have other things in my hand and I have time.
Yeah.
You see, now you come to me and you say, oh, you have cancer, maybe 6 months, 7 months, that's all you have. Now I don't have time. Right? And I want to do this, I need to do this because I want to spread my message and so on and so forth. So now the whole perspective changes. The urgentness also changes. And with that, the inspiration to do it also comes stronger,
Yeah.
more powerful.
Yeah.
So the first step always is inspiration. How inspired you are. I always tell my people who want to be inspired, I say, if you want to buy a Ferrari, a Ferrari car or a Lamborghini car, I say don't just say it. Yeah? Get a huge poster of a Lamborghini that you want and stick it on your wall. That when you wake up every morning you see it. And the urge becomes stronger each and every day.
Yeah.
Then you're going to work harder for it.
Yeah.
Right? This is the thing. If the urge is not strong enough, it doesn't happen. When we have plenty of time in our hand, it doesn't happen.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it is said that the 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 thing happens in a direct proportion to your wanting it to happen.
Yes, yes.
So the want has to be really, really.
Yeah, it has to. Yeah, that one it has to.
And maybe it happened with you because when you wanted to learn,
Yeah.
probably you just went ahead and.
For me, urgency is based on. I'm very relaxed. I guess I'm also similar. I have a lot of ideas. I initiate some of them, but most of them I don't initiate. And the reason behind it is because it's not that inspiring. It's an idea and it's a good idea, but it's not that inspiring, and I don't have a very strong reason behind me to support me to push myself to do it.
So, what was the inspiration behind you learning Buddhism to this an extent?
I was born into Buddhism,
Okay,
right?
so you saw it everywhere.
I was recognized when I was 2. I was brought into the monastery when I was 2.5, 3 years old.
Oh,
And since 3, I've been here till I was 9. I was here. Then when I was 9, they shifted me down to South India, and I studied in a monastery there for 18 years. That was my life. But I was never interested in studying it. Studying only happened when I was 15, and that's when I thought, okay, I need it, because teenage times you go into your own, your own state. You have your own problems. You don't know what you're doing with your life, right?
Yeah.
All kinds of confusions come up. All kinds of questions come up. That time, a lot of the questions were answered by what I was studying.
oh,
So it clicked,
okay.
right?
Yeah, got it.
So when it clicked, then I was like, yeah, okay, this is me. This really resonates with me. I'm able to understand it in a certain point. I'm able to express it. I'm able to use it, and I've been using it, and it's helping me. So that's when it started to click for me.
Right.
Until 15, I was all over the place. I mean, I was in the monastery, but not
Just like
studying.
any other thing.
Yeah, not studying. Wanted to play every day.
Just like anybody else. Yeah. So then you made a differentiation.
Yeah.
And went after it.
Yes.
Okay, interesting. Somebody was telling me that you must want something like when you put a man under water and he wants oxygen,
Yes.
head under the water.
That's a little bit extreme, but
Wants oxygen so bad,
Yes.
you got to want that thing so bad.
Yes. I mean, inspiration comes from that.
Yeah.
The only reason why someone is going to do something is because that person is either inspired or either forced to do it.
Yes.
These are the two things. Only two things.
Put into a corner.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I put a gun on your head, you're going to do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or either you need to be so inspired, so, the urge, the need to fulfill it
Yeah.
has to be so strong, then you're going to do
Yeah.
it. These are the two things. Inspiration is the easier way.
Yeah.
Right? The reason I'm saying inspiration is the easier way is because inspiration is brought up by logic and reasoning.
Yeah.
Right? We say impermanence. Okay, think about it. Okay, just a perspective. I think you learned about impermanence, right? Kejigma, we talked about it also. So impermanence. Let's talk about death impermanence. Cancer. Cancer.
Yeah.
Doctor. A lot of people who have died out of cancer. It can happen like this.
Yeah.
Can happen to anyone.
Anyone.
So when you talk about that, death, uncertainty of death, the time of death. Death is certain. Everyone dies. No one escapes. Everyone dies. But the time is uncertain.
Yeah.
We never know when. Yeah, tomorrow I might walk out of here, and the next thing,
Yeah.
at the gate,
Yeah.
I'm gone.
Yeah.
So when you think about your time being this short, then what happens?
That inspiration comes.
The inspiration comes. So these are one of this is logic. Now, a second logic can be the Four Noble Truths, if you have studied it. Truth of suffering, truth of cessation of suffering, cause of suffering, cessation to the cause of suffering, right?
Right.
So when you talk about that also, the liberation, the whole reason why we say the Four Noble Truths is to inspire you to be liberated,
Oh.
right?
Okay.
If you know suffering, if you have felt it, you are in it, and you are in samsara, so you can't get away from it. But then because you see and experience and see all of that, then you see that and someone comes to you and says, oh yeah, there's a way to get out of it.
Yeah.
Right? It's like you being in jail. When you are in jail, sitting in jail like this, and someone says, okay, I have a method for you to get out of jail.
Yeah.
You'll be like, yes, tell me.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I need to get out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So similar to that, when you're in samsara, you've felt it, you've experienced it, you've suffered. Someone comes to you and says, yes, there's a method out of this. Then the urgeness is there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So similar to that, this is the reason for the Four Noble Truths.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that you're urging the reason and the logic behind it supporting your urgeness to be liberated. So similar to that, when you talk about interdependence, again, another logic to why we need the urge. So these are all logics to, compassion, again another thing. We were talking about compassion, we are talking about genuine, sincere, unconditional generosity, forgiveness. Why are these important? If you don't see forgiveness important, you will never be able to forgive. If you don't see generosity being important, you will never be able to be generous.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So these are the reasons why that can inspire you to do something. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now this is a related thing which I think works, that everything happens for a reason.
Yes.
Everything which happens to you happens for a reason, and you have to see how is it going to work for you. So if there is something which you perceive as negative, like which happened right now, looking back at it, now I can see that something positive came out of it.
Yes.
Like I became better. So every time you have to go through a problem or this thing, you grow.
Yes.
If
Yeah,
you
so these
have
are
that
things.
perspective,
Yeah.
if you just take it as frustrating, then you
then
just bang your head against the wall
Yeah.
and damage yourself.
Yeah.
Right? So I am always looking optimistically at, okay, there's a problem, let me see what I learn from this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good.
That there is a part inside you that needs to be healed, and that has to be looked at when there is a problem. It hurts here. So what is hurting here? Why is it hurting here? So is there a deficiency there which needs to be healed?
Okay.
So I was looking at my emotional fear and thinking, what is my inside me that needs to be healed? And this thing keeps on recurring to trigger that. And this is a very spiritual level I'm talking
So my simple question would be, now that you have thought about it, my simple question would be, do you need to be healed?
You need to be?
Do you need to be healed?
If I can heal that part of myself, probably I can function better, I can think about much better, bigger things.
And what is it that you need to be healed?
Heal of all these fears, become real fearless.
Don't you think being fearless is sometimes aspirations come out of fear? Do you know that? Just think of it. It's a perspective I'm providing you here. Aspirations come out of fear. The only reason practitioners want to be liberated is because of fear of suffering. Does it make sense?
Oh yeah, got it. Right. So isn't that the same, that I'm suffering because of the fear?
Yeah.
And once the fear is not there, then whatever happens around me, I am still prajna. I am at equanimity.
That's what I'm saying. There's two ways. One thing you can say is you need to let go of the fear, destroy the fear, push the fear away. But another thing is, why don't you use your fear?
Embrace the fear.
Embrace it. If it's fear that there is a lack of compassion, what do? You develop compassion.
Yeah.
Right? If there is no fear of lack of compassion, then you don't develop compassion. If you are fearless, nothing. It's like some people can't feel heat. They can't feel pain.
Yes.
So for them,
no, that is not it.
Right?
That is numbness.
It's like numbness. They don't feel pain.
No.
But we are not talking about that.
I'm talking about the fearlessness of monks. I'm talking about the
Monks are not fearless. Monks are not fearless. That I can say for
They
sure.
are not bothered what somebody thinks of them. They are not bothered what somebody says to them.
There are certain things that don't bother them. There are certain things that bother them.
Okay.
So everyone everyone has fear. Some fears matter less. Like we have fear of tiger.
That's true.
We have
That's
fear
fine.
of tiger or not? Yes,
The physical fear is fine.
Yeah,
I'm talking
I'm
about-
just giving example, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Mentally also you fear tiger,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, but because we have never been in a situation, or we can say we will never be, coming forward, we will never be in a situation where we have to face a tiger.
Yeah.
So therefore, the fear is not there,
Right.
right?
Right.
But that's avoidance, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, fear. I always, like I said, when it comes to anger is useful. Similarly, fear is also useful.
In what?
But when you're able to manage it, you can use it,
Oh.
right? So instead of saying I want to get rid of fear, it's more like I want to learn to manage my fear. When this fear comes, what am I going to do? When the fear of suffering comes, what am I going to do? I'm going to go and look at books and research and do whatever I can to find the path to liberation. So I'm using the fear.
Right.
The more the fear, the more the urge to
Yeah.
be liberated.
Yeah.
So that would be my advice.
Yeah. True. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I'm also reaching there, but through another route.
Yes.
Ultimately,
No,
you
no,
are
no.
liberated to such an extent that it doesn't affect you anymore. That's
Yes,
what I
yes.
was trying to tell you.
Yes, yes,
So probably you have put it in much better way.
Yes, yes.
What should be the way out?
Yes.
Yeah,
I mean, if it makes sense.
Yeah.
But that would be my suggestion.
Mm.
Because a lot of the emotions that we have within us, that night I told you need to look at your mind like your own child.
Yeah.
That. This is the important epiphany that I always believe in. Right? A child has fear, a child has anger, a child has depression, but you need to be able to calm it down and comfort it, show it love, show it a easy, a way that is manageable. Right? If you start scolding the inner child, then you're scolding yourself. If you're scolding yourself, then you start blaming yourself. If you start blaming yourself, then
No.
it's not going to go so well. So be kind to yourself. When anger comes out, be kind to yourself. It's okay. Relax. Yeah? Then once you are relaxed, then think about it. You can use your anger in this way. You can use your anger. Just be sure not to get too extreme where you act out of anger. Calm down. Same thing with fear. When fear comes out, calm down first. Then say yes. You have fear. Or what can you do with this fear?
So coming to my original thesis that something bad happens, that is suffering.
Yes.
You suffer. And then that suffering should trigger to find ways to get out of suffering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You suffer, and because of that suffering, some people again enjoy suffering.
Oh, I know.
So some people enjoy suffering.
Self-pity and all.
Yeah. Some people enjoy doing that.
Yeah.
In that case, it's a different thing.
Look what happened to me. That kind of thing.
So in that case, it's a little bit different. Like based on mindset difference, there are different methods to work with understanding suffering. But generally, let's talk generally, right? If we're talking generally, then suffering is a sense that amplifies our understanding of what we dislike. Right? That is basically what suffering is. When it's amplified what we dislike, then we look for things that we like joy, happiness, comfort. And that's what the whole world is playing around with us, right? Oh yeah, you buy this TV, you will be more comfortable. You buy this sofa, you will be more happy. You buy this house, you will be more joyful.
Yeah.
The whole world runs on that.
Yeah.
So it's using those things to inspire you to buy things. But then the same concept can be applied for within yourself, meaning, okay, you have this suffering, what can you do with it? What have you learned out of it, and what can you do towards it? Right, to avoid that suffering. When you cannot avoid a certain type of suffering, like when you are sick, then you try to manage it, meaning you learn to erase it in certain ways, right? For some people, like I said, death is suffering. Why is that suffering? Because of the the connection you are breaking, right? When you are dying, you need to leave your house that you worked your whole life for. When you are dying, you need to leave your wife, your son, your this, your that, everything you need to leave. So the fear of that, this disconnection is there. But you can't avoid it. That's suffering, and you can't avoid it. So what do? Instead of looking at it that way, you change your perspective. I'm thankful to have this much in my life. I'm thankful that I was able to provide this much here. I'm thankful to have such a wonderful husband, wonderful dad, wonderful this. I have no regrets in this life. Whatever I've done with passion. I've done through love. I've done through, So when that is there, then what happens? You embrace it. Make sense? So it's a different perspective. You look at the same thing, but when you take different perspectives on the same thing, your experience changes.
Gratefulness.
Yeah, your suffering changes.
True.
So I would say it's more about working with your perspective. You need to find the right type of perspective that makes sense to you, and then try to work around that to really bring that.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Your laughter is very infectious.